How you guys doing? Listen, 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 listen. I just want to say hey to my people. Happy, 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 happy. What is this? Thursday? Oh no, this is Friday Eve. This is what they're saying. This is Friday Eve. So happy Friday Eve, people. Happy Friday Eve. Okay. Listen. I pray that all is well. Hey, Joshua, I say nothing but love your way, beautiful, because you deserve it, handsome. You deserve it. Yes, you do. Yes, you are always first in the building. First in the building. I'm trying to figure out this layout, y'all. So I always get it confused. I always get it confused. I always get it confused. I thought I had it right when I did this. Is this good? Is this what it's supposed to be? Like this? Okay. All right. So yeah, I had a very productive day today. Was able to get some stuff done in my classroom. Today almost done labeling, and you know, labeling is like, I guess you guys don't know, but labeling is just like tedious work. It's like chalkboard on a no, what is it? Nails on a chalkboard. That's how I feel about labeling. I can't get with the program. I just can't. I just can't get with the program, y'all. It's too much labeling. It's too much labeling. Okay, guys. So listen. This morning I was doing a little bit of internet surfing on YouTube. You know, just catching up. Sometimes I get up early in the morning, and sometimes I watch the news, the national news from yesterday. I get up early in the morning watching because I miss it. Just about rushing, trying to um rushing to get home. I'm sorry. Uh and so I'll be up early. So when I'm up early, I'll be surfing YouTube and I came across this story, right? And I said, I want to do this story because I didn't hear specifics about the story, like the names and stuff like that. But I used to always hear this back in the day. We used to hear about this man who was traveling, who was giving AIDS to people unknowingly. And then, this whole situation with the T app came out about this one man supposedly, allegedly giving AIDS to a lot of women. And so I said, well, let me go back and get some in-depth story about, get some more information about the story. And that's what I did. So I want to talk about it and kind of share with you guys um, tonight. Okay. I don't know. I've been avoiding rubbing my eyes because something is in it, but I don't want to irritate it. Ugh. Okay. And so, yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. It is a very interesting story. I watched the whole documentary, guys, and when I tell y'all, I watched the whole documentary, and when I tell y'all, I was like, wow. Now, this documentary has to be about in the late 80s, early 90s, okay? Now, the individual that we're talking about, let me give you guys a little bit of background about him. Let's see here. So his name is Fabian Kevin Bridges. He was born January the 2nd, 1995. I mean, sorry, not 95, 1955. In Indiana, Indianapolis. And then he died on the 17th in 1985. He was age 30. He died in Harris County, Texas. Okay, he died from AIDS. And he had family, but during that time when AIDS first came out, people did not know what was going on with individuals. They didn't know all of the truths. They didn't know all of the background. They didn't know, so it was very scary. And I remember that time because I was young. I was young, but I remember people just being scared of HIV, being scared of AIDS. And just being scared because they will always come with these different myths of how you can contract it. So if a person had AIDS, they were treated like the plague. They were isolated, ridiculed. The family disowned them, shunned them. Even to this day, there's this. Even though the disease can be managed, and they can also go into being non-detectable, people still, as you should, take some precautions, but not to the point to where it was in the 80s, in the mid 80s and 90s with HIV. So I got video, I got parts of the documentary. We're gonna see this man's attitude and the things that he did. I was taken back by what I saw. I saw the whole documentary. I will try to copy the link and share it on I think I might have shared it. If not, I will share it on my community wall because I heard of this story, but I didn't get all the particulars. You know what I'm saying? This man literally traveled the country and was giving people AIDS, HIV, AIDS, and knew that he was giving it to them. It was something. Time magazine covered his story. I just was like taken back because of his demeanor, right? And so back in those days, if you got told you were diagnosed with AIDS, it was like a death wish. It was like the end of your life. Your life is over. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing else to look for because they didn't know a lot about AIDS. Hey, so Scorpio Mama, I said nothing but love your way because you deserve it. They just didn't know about it. You know what I'm saying? And so people were treated like they had the plague, like they had what's that other one that that people shun people for. What was it called? Oh my god, leprosy. You know what I'm saying? It was and of course it spread predominantly amongst the gay community during that time because just the information was not there how to stay safe. There were tons of bathhouses all across the country. Not really no restriction. I think safe sex was just coming out during the late 80s and 90s as a campaign. People were just raw dogging, for lack of better expression. They were just raw dogging it in the bathhouses. You know what I'm saying? People even with heterosexual sex. You know what I'm saying? The information was not there. The prevention just was not there, so it spread like wildfire. And then I heard a story. I watched a documentary, and this man said he used to be in the bathhouses, and it's like you could smell the sickness on them, and they knew they were sick, but it was like people would still be messing with him because that was that was in some kind of way thrilling. And I'm telling y'all, I'm not lying. I heard that man say that, and I was like, oh my God. But tons of people lost their life during this time. So what we're going to do is start playing a little bit of the documentary, and then we're going to digest and discuss, okay, about this, and just talking about prevention and talking about what it is with some of these brothers in this day and time being on the down low. That is the reason why the erection of the T-app came to be, to protect people. And a lot of men got mad about that. A lot of men got mad about that T-app, but I'm quite sure it saved some lives. You understand what I'm saying? Because even in this day, in this time, you still got men that are on the down low who are having risque sex, unprotected sex, and putting themselves out there, homosexual or heterosexual, and they're not saying that they're bisexual, and they're coming home and they bringing their wife's stuff, or the woman is bringing the husband's stuff, even to this day. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a sad commentary that you will be so carried away with your lust that you cannot discipline yourself to protect your family and protect yourself. You understand what I'm saying? That's selfish of you to have a whole alternate physical sexual life that's so risque that it will risk your partner's life, and you don't want to come clean because you don't want to be found out that you into this type of sex. Now, does that make sense? In this day and time, this is still happening. And there's been a lot, and even in the late 80s, there were a lot of black women and black men who were diagnosed with AIDS and HIV because of secrecy and shame and just a lack of information. So this brother got diagnosed with HIV, and he continued to have sex regardless of his diagnosis. The health department sent him a letter. At that time, they were moving like that because it was so unfamiliar. You understand what I'm saying? They were moving like that because it was so unfamiliar. They didn't know how to treat AIDS, and they looked at it as a pandemic, and it was, because we just didn't have the information. So this brother right here that we're going to begin to watch the footage, he was diagnosed with HIV, and he knowingly went and started sleeping with individuals, and the health department came out. Time magazine documented him. A camera crew was following him around the country, and he still was sleeping with people, and he knew it. And you're gonna see his response and how he felt about it. Okay. All right. So let's just check out the first one. Hopefully, I got it in order. I'm not for sure. All right. So hopefully the first clip will play correctly. Y'all know how my internet been. $CLAYLING. Support the channel. Okay. All right, here we go. The first one.
When we came to Houston, we didn't know Fabian Bridges. He was just one of the faceless victims.
I met Fabian about 1975. After I got out of school and moved here to Houston in about 1979, we would keep in contact by phone and letters.
Fabian's friend Shirley.
Fabian decided that he would like to start a new career and move here and see if Houston would be profitable for him.
Fabian had several jobs after he arrived in Houston, and in 1982, he signed on with a Harris County flood control crew like this one.
Had an AIDS patient and wanted to admit him to our hospital for evaluation. He came over here and had many AIDS-related infections, did indeed have AIDS, and was diagnosed here 3 or 4 days after his arrival as having AIDS. He was very, very sick. He had very high fevers. He had persistent diarrhea.
When I went to Texas, they told me exactly what condition my son was in and how long, they expect for him to live and everything. And for me to try to make arrangements for his funeral, because he wasn't going to live long.
But Fabian wasn't ready to die. Like many AIDS patients, his condition improved. In July, after 3 months at Jefferson Davis, Fabian was no longer sick enough to stay. He'd lost his job, had no money, and there was nowhere for him to live outside the hospital.
Well, Fabian was ready to go home, and we met several times in discharge planning conferences to decide what would be the best, and Fabian's desire was to go back to his family in the north. And so we paid for a one-way plane ticket for him to go back there.
The doctors had done what they could. The hospital gave Fabian $100 and sent him to his sisters in Indianapolis.
We just didn't know enough about the disease, and we knew that when you had it, you would die, and that certain aspects of it, it was contagious. Oh, excuse me.
Fabian's two sisters learned what they could about the disease, but with all the uncertainty surrounding AIDS, the family was afraid.
We weren't sure of how you can contact it. We heard only sexual contact, but now we're hearing other things like saliva or whatever. And we just didn't know and didn't want to take a chance.
I just couldn't have Calvin in the household with this little brat here running around. He's a terror around the house. He's in everything. Personal belongings. He even plays in the toilet.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. And just say during this time, guys, anybody that was like born in 1975 and older, you know what I'm saying? 1970, whatever, I was born in 76, I remember this time. And I remember if you had AIDS, nobody wanted to deal with you. It was a fear. There was a young lady in my church, not the church I'm in now, but my previous church. And she was diagnosed with AIDS. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was, she just contracted HIV. She had AIDS. But my pastor at the time, my bishop, he allowed her to worship. But it was so scary. They didn't know what she can do, what she could not do. They didn't want her doing this. They didn't want her doing that. Nobody would really come around her because she had AIDS, right? But she can do hair. So, and I was in high school during this time, and I remember this. And she was such the sweetest soul. She was so sweet. So I would come over her house, and I would let her do my hair. I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. I would let her do my hair, right? And I would do her hair. And I think at one time I used the bathroom or something like that. But I would come to her house and I would befriend her and be nice to her. And she would tell me of times that people were rude to her and she had to eat at certain tables and they just didn't know. And they would just, and that people were just so rude. And I understood that you can only get it through blood contact and sexual transmission and body fluid. Even at a teenager, I knew to treat people just better. You understand what I'm saying? Just better. You got to think these people got the worst news of their life. The worst news of their life. And so I said this to say, I'm just listening to his family and I could hear the fear in the dad's voice during that time. They don't know. They don't want the child to run into anything that he got going on or any type of bodily fluid that may be like in the bathroom or something like that. So he was protecting his child because we simply did not know during that time, right? Just did not know. So a lot of families, they expelled their family member who contracted AIDS. They disowned them, didn't have nothing to do. In the documentary, there was a point in time where he was filing for disability because he had, HIV, and I guess they were taking a while to get his money. So I guess I don't know how it was set up, but somehow his mother got the money in her account. So maybe she was a guardian of his. And she said, like the family members were telling her to put the money up because he's not going to live long. Put the money up. Don't give it to him because he's not going to live long. And so during the course of the documentary, he was like, I want my money. And she ended up giving him money and he ended up giving her some money, You know what I'm saying? And he still lived quite a while after that. He ran through the Social Security money, and it's still doing his thing. But the fear during that time was, I can't be around you. Oh no. And it was like separate housing. Stuff started developing like in the housing sector where there was separate housing for these people. They were just being quarantined in society. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a scary thing. Okay. Let's continue on with the documentary.
You know, he probably would have died in obscurity if no one had stumbled upon his story, if no one had called, you know, us to pursue it.
It was Kyle Niederprem's story that first led us to Fabian. It was a story about the alienation and rejection that many AIDS victims suffer. So in late August, we came to Cleveland to find Fabian. We started by checking the shelters. Then we heard he might be staying in this hotel.
What was it like when you first found out you had AIDS?
Well, I was sitting in the office at this private hospital, York's Plaza, and I don't know, my world just started crumbling. I just sat there a minute and it seemed like I could see everything flash right before me, and I just sat on the thing, the bed like, and started crying. You know, I said to myself, my life is over. This is where it stopped. She said, you know...
Fabian told us he was still angry about what happened in the Indianapolis jail.
I felt I was being treated like an animal. You know, they didn't care. The only thing they cared about was not getting disease. And after I got there, they put me in this waiting cell. And I was there for about 2 hours. And all of a sudden, the sheriffs, the policemen, peons, maintenance people, they all just came by and got a glance and started whispering and went out the other way. I was so humiliated, I just could have grabbed them by their neck and just choked the hell out of them. Choked.
Yeah, and so again, I want to talk about just that time and that era. People didn't know what to think. And in this particular clip, he went on to say that if he could, he would just throw the affection onto them. And when he said that, that kind of gave me a glimpse of where his mind was at. This man was totally devastated during that time. That was just like a death sentence. Like he said, my life was over. You know what I'm saying? So you can see that he would see the feeling of just falling. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no hope for me. You know, and this man, he just gave up. You know, he just gave up, and he said he was humiliated. People just looking at him. You know what I'm saying? Like a freak show, because people just didn't know. You know what I'm saying? We just didn't know. You know, if you saw someone with AIDS and you look, you know, and then they just started during that time, there was no treatment, no adequate treatment, because science had not caught up just yet. And so you just was literally watching your family members or your loved ones or the person in the community just wasting away. You just watched them literally waste away. And the way that disease came on the scene was so prevalent and so impactful and so aggressive that it just ate through the community. Okay, let's go on.
Sometimes I do it for money, especially when
hold on, let me give you a little bit of background on this. So he asked him about, is he going to be continually to, what does he do for a living? He was talking about he was a male prostitute, and he goes to bathhouses, and the reason why he have intercourse with these men.
Maybe $5.
After Fabian said this, we questioned him more closely about his sex life.
Let me play it from the beginning,
Fabian
guys.
told us that sometimes he
catch it from the beginning, so let's be
down here on 4th Street. they just come and go. You you pick, you know. Sometimes I do it for money, especially when I ain't got any. I did it for money yesterday. Made $5.
After Fabian said this, we questioned him more closely about his sex life. Fabian told us that sometimes he had sex for money, other times for affection. He told us a disturbing story of what had happened a few nights before.
So we got to here. I told him to be very quiet. We were walking in. You know, I told the people at the desk that I don't bring rowdy people in, which I don't. So we got in, came upstairs. I had a couple of pops, great pops up here. I asked him if he want something to drink. I also had some gin that I downed real quick. And I had a half a square, smoked that. And we started intimately having sex. I worked on him first because he had on these sexy parachute pants, black. And then we cut the lights down low and cut the music down low. And I told him he can get comfortable, you know. What I liked about him was he's very affectionate. That's what I like. Hugging, snuggling up.
Did you kiss?
No kissing. Wanted to.
What happened?
After that, we just laid here. Wasn't no.
Just listening to him speak, his demeanor, you can tell that he was in a major depression. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who wouldn't be? You know what I'm saying? The homelessness during that time was catastrophic. People were just living on the street because they had been disowned from their family or kicked out. Even to this day, we have an area in Detroit where there is homelessness amongst the gay community. I remember that my route had got rerouted for a couple of days, and I had to travel what is known in Detroit, this condensed area of the gay community. And so I'm riding down the side street, and I don't know, I guess because it hasn't been, prevalent and like in my face, or, I'm just not out there like that, I would get there. I would have to be at work early, you know what I'm saying? So I would get there, get to that area like extremely early, and I would see the gay prostitutes like they getting, they getting off shift, like they were just going home, and you could see them just walking down the street. Some of them were in drag, some of them were not, but they were just literally strolling the streets, and it took my breath away. Some of them, I mean, you don't know for a fact, but you could, kind of guess that they on the street. They just living, they trying to make it survive. You know what I'm saying? And you don't pass judgment. Even though I don't agree with the lifestyle, but you're still looking at a human being that's on the street, selling their body. Whether they choose to or not. You know what I'm saying? So to me, and I have my own, belief sets. I felt it was a sad commentary, and you can see people. You can see the desperation in their eyes. You can just see it. A lot of young individuals who are in the lifestyle, who are chosen this lifestyle, have been disowned by their family, and they are living literally, selling themselves to eat, to survive, to pay their hotel fee. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the lifestyle. I mean, that's what they know. They sleeping in their cars because they have nowhere to go because nobody wants to be bothered with them. Or individuals who they can't be around certain individuals. Like it's just whatever the barrier is, whatever the case may be. These people are out here on the street, and they have become destitute. They feel neglected. They feel lonely, and they need ministry. I'm sorry. I'm going to go there just for a little bit. They need somebody to tell them that Jesus loved them. They need somebody to give them some type of hope, a sandwich, something to drink. You understand what I'm saying? To be totally disowned by whether you in the community or not, but to be totally disowned by everything that you know to be familiar is catastrophic. It's catastrophic. And you got to think about this time, this age and day, that day and time in the 80s where people were being disowned, you know what I'm saying? And it was like out of ignorance because we just did not know, and we felt like we had to protect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And it was like it was just fear. People were moving out of fear. So during this time, this man was living in hotels. He was homeless. He was selling his body to survive. But some of that you will see later on in the documentary. Excuse me. He was doing this out of frustration and just out of pain and devastation. You know what I'm saying? It's something to you knowingly doing something that may kill somebody, that may take somebody's life, and you knowingly doing this. You understand? I feel bad, for the story because a lot of things that happened to him, it was because people just did not know, and they were just making the best decision that they could. But then further down the line, I started to not have sympathy for him because I became aware that he knew what he was doing. He knew the consequence. He knew the seriousness. A couple of professionals sat down and talked to him of the medical field and let him know that you shouldn't be doing this. The health department talked to him. The country knew what he was doing. And my thing is, you got a whole camera crew following you across the country, and nobody locked him up. I didn't understand that. Okay, so let's move on.
It's just a mouse.
Because Fabian didn't know where he was going to sleep.
Wait. I want to make.
They just coming.
No, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Cheap hotel room. We gave him the money on the condition that he not practice unsafe sex and that he stay away from the bathhouses. Fabian also told us he was planning to see his doctor.
Let's go back to the beginning so you guys can hear this.
And told us he was broke again. He'd spent his Social Security money trying to pay off an old debt and had squandered the rest. He took us to an abandoned house where he'd left some clothes.
Ooh. It's just a mouse.
Because Fabian didn't know where he was going to sleep, we gave him $15 a night for 3 nights to buy a cheap hotel room. We gave him the money on the condition that he not practice unsafe sex and that he stay away from the bathhouses. Fabian also told us he was planning to see his doctor.
Well, Fabian, how are you? Welcome back to Houston.
Yeah.
You've been traveling all over the country.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Making Time magazine.
How have you been feeling?
Fine.
Have you really? Not having any trouble with shortness of breath?
No.
Okay. Have you noticed any blue bumps or brown bumps on your skin anywhere?
No. Just insect bites and stuff like that.
Let me be sure those are insect bites.
I have one on my leg, right? Sort of purple.
Okay, but none of these are capuchins. Yeah, one of the things AIDS patients get is a skin tumor called capuchins, but you don't have that. That's not important. Where are you staying now?
Here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. That's why you made Time magazine. You have got to find a place to stay and settle there. You can't be freaking out public health departments all over the whole United States. Let me just look in your maps. Okay, that looks good. Okay, well, I don't feel any lymph glands anywhere.
I remember I used to couldn't run because it drains me, but now I can run.
So you're in remission now. So that's good.
What is that?
Well, remission means that your disease is under control.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's cured, but it means it's under control for right now. It's not bothering you. But you do understand you have AIDS, right? And you know how you can transmit AIDS.
Yeah.
Through sexual contact and through blood.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 ways you can transmit it. Now, one thing that bothers me is that Time article said that you were
Peddling
quote
sex.
unquote peddling sex. Is that true, Fabian?
Sort of, yeah.
See, you can't do that. No, that's not funny. You've got a disease that is almost always fatal, and you're giving it to people all over the country. Now that just isn't using common sense.
I'm not, when I masturbate or ejaculate, it's not getting in them or on them.
You're sure of that?
Mm-hmm. I'm making sure of that.
Well,
I'm not kissing no one. That's another way to get it.
So you're not exchanging body fluids. You know what safe sex means. Okay. Well, just the same, I talked to Dr. Houghton, Fabian. He's the county public health director here. Mm-hmm. As long as you stay in Houston, he's going to send you a letter, which we'll deliver on Monday, saying that you have to restrain from sexual activities, and particularly from prostitution. If you do that in Houston, then you can be put under protective custody. And we just can't take the chance, Fabian. Now, if you behave yourself, and we want to take care of you. If you get sick, we'll be glad to see you anytime. But if you go out and start being a male prostitute, then we're going to have to call the constables and have you locked up. We just can't do that, because we're not talking about
be locked up.
We're not talking about clap, something you can cure with penicillin. We're talking about a disease you can't cure, and therefore it's your obligation not to spread it to other people. You just can't do that.
I've slowed down quite a bit, though.
Yeah, well, it's more than slow down. You got to stop it.
But Fabian ignored Dr. Oz and our warnings. We discovered he didn't use our money for hotel rooms, and he admitted he was still having unsafe sex.
It's just, you just can't be spreading a disease that's going to kill people.
He remains infectious until we find a cure, or the people who are doing the research find a cure.
Okay, so it was at this time where I started, my sympathy level was getting low for him. And mind you, this is an old story, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, when he started laughing at what the doctor was saying, and then just you could just look at the time, the doctor was talking to him like he was Mr. Rogers or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a kid or something. I'm thinking to myself, this man knows exactly what he's doing. He knew exactly what he was doing, even though it was new. It was what I'm quite sure he was aware of the ways to spread it. And then he even said, I'm not kissing, I'm not spreading no bodily fluids and all of that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So he knew what he was doing. He laughed at the doctor when he said, you can't be pandering sex to people. I was saying to myself, this is a dangerous individual. This is a dangerous individual. During that time, it was scary. But here's the deal. We still are dealing with this problem. To this day, we got individuals that's on the download. I don't know how many TikTok, I don't know if they skits or they real, of individuals they make finding out that they have HIV. You know what I'm saying? And they're talking about it like it's so common now. AIDS is still killing. I know HIV and AIDS is two different things. I know that HIV can progress into AIDS. I know that. But I'm still saying it changes your life. And people are being so promiscuous now. It is ridiculous. They find so many different ways to hook up. And hey, your sexual orientation is your sexual orientation. How you want to get down, that is how you get down. But understand, when you have multiple sexual partners, you having fun, you in the lifestyle, you doing your thing, that you are at risk because you don't know what everybody else is doing. And not only that, it's just a dangerous way to live. And I don't want to hear, Queen, don't be no prude. You can't tell people what to do. I can't tell you what to do with your body. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's some stuff out here that you can't get rid of that's not AIDS. There's other stuff out here, new STIs and new STDs that's out here that you can't get rid of. And while you out here living your best life, swinging from wall to wall, from mattress to mattress, with 4-5 chicks on the side, you better understand that everybody ain't playing safe like you are or what you think they are. Everybody ain't being faithful like you think they are. You don't understand what I'm saying? Somebody got 2 or 3 on the side that you don't know about. It is Russian roulette out here. And just thank God You understand? People need to be using common sense, and they need to be protecting themselves. Protecting themselves. Protect yourself. Because once you get it, honey, it's life changeable. And I don't care. They got medicine out here that you can manage it and you can become almost undetectable. But baby, guess what? That virus is still lingering somewhere in your body. It may not be as prevalent and you may not be able to give it to nobody. But trust and believe it is there, and it is something that you gonna have to deal with. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. You say it's some nasty folks out here. Yes, it is. They are, and trust and believe. I was getting my hair done one time at this girl's house, and she was talking about how she in a lifestyle and how judges and influential people are in a lifestyle and they all protect each other. And she be having all these sex parties where she be ordering a whole bunch of mattresses and fill the house up with mattresses, and they just get down and do what they want to do. Honey, that was the last time I went and got my hair done over there, because that's not how I live. I'm not curious like that. I'm not a prude because I don't get down like that. Listen, I believe when you share the most intimate part of yourself, you create a soul tie with that person. You share fluids with somebody who finna roll over and share fluids with somebody else. And y'all, that's nasty. It is not approved by God. It's a sin. And people need to go somewhere and go sit down somewhere. Thank you, Squirt. It's ridiculous. Dangerous behavior. Carried away with your lust. But guess what? God got a remedy for that. He got a remedy for it. Do you hear what I say? You sticking it here, there, and everywhere. You gonna mess around and get something that you can't get rid of. Herpes is something that you can't get rid of. It don't gotta be HIV or AIDS. It can be herpes. And when I tell you that thing is running through the country, so where is it? Where was I at? In Atlanta? I wasn't in Atlanta, but in Atlanta, there is a AIDS crisis right now. There is an AIDS crisis. They are literally telling you what counties in Atlanta has the most prevalent population of percentages of AIDS patients, because it's running rampant. They got a couple of swinger clubs there. People just want to be normal, and then they got this devastating news, but they are in denial. They're depressed. They done lost all hope for the world, and they just want to be normal, and they out there blending in with population and having sex because they know their life is over, but they just want to feel normal. And they sit up there having sex with you because you try to live your best life and check something off your bucket list. Get it together, because this thing is real. You're going to mess around and get something that you cannot get rid of. Quit out here playing the field. You just got to have it. Commit and get married. Commit and settle your tail down. I got to get this one. I got to have this one. I got to have this one. I'm telling you right now, you do not know who's playing fair and who's not. I don't care if they tell you, baby, I love you. Yeah, we exclusive. It's just me and you. You do not know what people's sexual appetite is. They will tell you anything. And because they ain't married to you, they feel they ain't obligated to tell you all their sexual partners. You understand what I'm saying? And they out here doing their thing. And you think it's just you and me, you and her, and maybe you got a chick on the side because y'all got an arrangement that it's just a situation. So you got this one and you got that one. You don't know who they got. All you know is what they telling you, and all they know is what you telling them. This thing is serious and it is real, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Time magazine, and the reason why I feel like every authoritative figure in this dude's life, as we're watching this documentary, every authoritative figure in this dude's life seem to be coddling him. For some reason, they didn't take this serious. Like the authorities should have arrested him up immediately. But he had so much media around him that they were just traveling. They were just following him across the country as he was giving people this disease. And it almost was like sensationalized. People didn't find out they were sleeping with this dude until they saw him on TV and in the magazine. that he had this disease. It's unreal. And they let him trotty along for a while. He ended up passing away in the hospital. And they was like he passed away peacefully, leaving all this destruction behind him.
That's what I expect, to be laying there, short of breath and about ready to go. That's what I expect out of that disease, and something so dreaded.
But if you know how dreadful the disease is, and you saw those people in Jeff Davis, if you know how dreadful the disease is, how could you go ahead and take a chance that you might give it to somebody?
I don't know. I guess I'm to the point where I just don't give a damn, and, you know, I really don't.
You have to make the determination on medical grounds whether or not having sex with someone who has a documented case of AIDS presents any greater public health risk. Then you may as well go ahead. If it doesn't present any greater public health risk, you may as well leave something in like that.
Dr. Houghton's solution was to deliver a carefully worded letter to Fabian, which essentially ordered him not to have
Change
sex.
it that way, but I think that one's going to cause more trouble than we'll be able to handle.
What does that letter say, essentially?
Read it.
What's your understanding of it?
Stop having sex with the world.
Is that going to be easy for you?
Very hard. But I'm gonna try.
It was explained to me that Dr. Houghton's letter is written in such a manner where he cannot exchange any fluids with anybody. He cannot give blood. That's a violation.
Dr. Houghton turned over the job of enforcing the letter to the Houston Vice Squad. It was the first time in his career he had called the police in on a health problem.
I talked to him about whether we could go out and make a prostitution case or engage in sex with him, an offer to engage in sex with him, and they told me that there are...
Yeah, and then they went on and made a joke. You know what I'm saying? The police officers went on and made a joke. It was saying, yeah, well, we're not gonna have sex with them. We're gonna just, you know, they were all laughing and stuff. You know, but what really bothered me was when the health department gave him that letter and told him he had to avoid from prostitution and having sex with the public, because you pose a health risk to society because you have AIDS. He told the cameraman, well, I'm gonna try it, but that's gonna be really hard. You out here taking people, infecting people, and taking people's lives. And he just was like, you know, I really don't care. He said, I really don't care. That was a sad commentary. Even to this day, you got people right now who they don't care. They know they sick. They know they got some type of disease going on, and they gonna still sleep with you. That man that was on the T app, he knew he had AIDS. These people, you got some people, and you think that they cool. These people are feeling lost. They are feeling in despair. Not all of them, but some. They feel like their life is over with, and they just want a whole bunch. They want to take a whole bunch of people with them. That's why you gotta. The Bible says, "Know those that labor among you." That's why you should not be sleeping with nobody if they're not your husband. And I know y'all gonna say, come out of the stone age, queen. That's just how I feel. You seal the covenant. If your husband give you something, then for me, it would be a divorce. You understand what I'm saying? Even with that, you just don't know. You got so many brothers that's out here on the down low. It's so many women that's out here on the down low. It is ridiculous. It is selfish. these individuals are cowards to risk somebody's life because of your own personal sexual preference. And I've said this before. If you have a certain sexual preference, don't get in a monogamous relationship. Do society a favor and go live and be your best self. I never understand that. Oh, I'm bisexual and he know it. I'm bisexual and she know it and we agreed to it. I think that's unfair because what you're doing is you're opening up the door for health issues because you don't know what somebody else is doing. And that can happen in a monogamous relationship too. I'm not being biased tonight. You understand what I'm saying? That man said he don't care. He knew he had AIDS and he out here sleeping and pandering sex to individuals. And it was sensationalized across the country. That's what baffling me to me. Today in Michigan, right now today in Michigan, if you knowingly give somebody herpes, you are going to jail and you're going to be a felon. You're going to jail. You're giving somebody something that cannot be reversed. It affects their livelihood. And you got so many people out here mad with the world because they got something. I know a story right now. This chick tried to sleep with this dude, tried to sleep with him because they had a history and she got herpes. And he found out. But the whole time prior to that, she was trying to sleep with him. See, people, they just want to be normal, but they don't mess their life up so bad. You understand what I'm saying? But they still want to be normal, so that what they do, they bet it all. Because somebody done told them, oh, you can have sex if it's not if you can have sex with somebody if it's not active, if the blisters ain't there. If you ain't having an outbreak, you should be safe to have sex. No, you ain't gonna have sex with me. Oh, herpes is just like the chicken pox. Who lied to you? It comes from the same family, honey, but it is far more severe. Do you hear what I say? Out here dibbling and dabbling and doing stuff, and you don't know who, and I can't even, and I don't know why I keep on saying that. You don't know who is doing what. You gonna play the field. You gonna be a player. You gonna get as much coochie as you want to get. You gonna get as much penis as you want to get, and you don't know what the other person is doing behind your back. And you just out here swinging from door to door, chandelier to chandelier, bed to bed, post to post, living your best life. When I tell you I know what I'm talking about, without running my mouth too much. Now, I ain't got none. I want y'all to think Queen got none. I don't got none, but I'm just saying I know what I'm talking about. People be living some of the weirdest, freakiest lifestyles, and you don't even know it. But they want to lay down in your bed. Well, a couple of years back, this man, he got arrested because he had a whole dungeon. He had rented a second property just to have a dungeon in that mud, and I think he had prostitutes up in there. They shut him down. He was some type of official. Just you know what I'm saying? And my thing is, hey, do you? Just don't risk my life or my loved one's life doing you. That's the whole problem. Y'all risking other people's life trying to do you. Get yourself together. This man literally traveled the country infecting and giving people AIDS in the late 80s. Can you imagine how scary? But the thing is, if you go back and watch the clip in the documentary, and I'm going to try to grab the link and put it on my the whole documentary and put it, on my community wall. They were treating him like he was some type of celebrity. He out here killing people. He out here killing people. It's a sad commentary. It's a sad commentary. It's people out here, you know what I'm saying? They know they got AIDS. But and I'm telling you right now, They're not gonna tell you. You know what I'm saying? They know they got AIDS, and they just trying to normalize themselves, and they putting themselves in risky situations, eating off of people, sharing people food and stuff, because they don't want you to know. They try to be known, and you know you out here risking people's lives. And part of the video, it was so crazy. In part of the video, he was sitting with his mother, and his mother was giving him his Social Security check, the money. He reached over and kissed her in the mouth, and she almost doggone near died on film. He did that on purpose. He did that on purpose to see her reaction. I would have turned around, I would have wiped my face, I would have politely got up and sanitized my face, and I would have kicked him out. Because at that point, he didn't care. He said in the video, I don't care. That's your mother. See, those type of individuals, and I'm not talking about people who got AIDS, but I'm talking about individuals who are depressed. They feel neglected. They don't have no longing to live. They don't care about society. Those type of people, they are dangerous. And they would do things just because they know their life is over. You got to be weary of those people. You got to be thinking smart. I ain't playing no games with you. You understand what I'm saying? That man was diabolical. In the beginning of the video, I started feeling sympathy for him. But towards the end, I didn't. I'm gonna play that video again. This is where I stopped having sympathy for this individual. Is it this one?
Again. He spent his Social Security money trying to pay off an old debt and had squandered the rest. He took us to an abandoned house where he'd left some clothes.
Ooh, it's just a mouse.
Because Fabian didn't know where he was going to sleep, we gave him $15 a night for 3 nights to buy a cheap hotel room. We gave him the money on the condition that he not practice unsafe sex and that he stay away from the bathhouses. Fabian also told us he was planning to see his doctor.
Well, Fabian, how are you? Welcome back to Houston.
Yeah.
Look how they dealing with him.
Traveling all over
He
the
out
country.
here infecting people.
Have a seat.
Making time, magazine.
How have you been feeling?
Fine.
Have you really? Not having any trouble with shortness of breath?
No.
Okay. Have you noticed any blue bumps or brown bumps on your skin anywhere?
No. Just insect bites and stuff like that.
Let me be sure those are insect bites.
I have one on my leg, right? Sort of purple.
Okay, but none of these are capuchins. Yeah, one of the things AIDS patients get is a skin tumor called capuchins, but you don't have that. That's not important. Where are you staying now?
Here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. That's why you made Time magazine. You have got to find a place to stay and settle there. You know, you can't be freaking out public health departments all over the whole United States. Let me just look in your mouth a second. Okay, that looks good. Okay, well, I don't feel any lymph glands anywhere.
I remember I used to couldn't run because it drains me, but now I can run.
So you're in remission now. Well, that's good.
What is that?
Well, remission means that your disease is under control.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's cured, but it means it's under control for right now. It's not bothering you. But you do understand you have AIDS, right? And you know how you can transmit AIDS.
Yeah.
Through sexual contact and through blood.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 ways you can transmit it. Now, one thing that bothers me is that Time article said that you were
peddling sex.
Quote unquote peddling sex. Is that true, Fabian?
Sort of, yeah.
See, you can't do that. No, that's not funny. You've got a disease that is almost always fatal, and you're giving it to people all over the country. Now that just isn't using common sense.
I'm not, when I masturbate or ejaculate, it's not getting in them or on them.
You're sure of that?
I'm making sure of that. Well, I'm not kissing no one. That's another way to get it.
So you're not exchanging body fluids. You know what safe sex means. Okay. Well, just the same, I talked to Dr. Houghton, Fabian. He's the county public health director here. As long as you stay in Houston, he's going to send you a letter, which we'll deliver on Monday, saying that you have to restrain from sexual activities, and particularly from prostitution. If you do that in Houston, then you can be
so this right
put
here,
under protective custody.
This
And
right here,
we just
that right there is when I lost faith. That's when my empathy stopped. You understand what I'm saying? Because he was laughing. First of all, during that time, he had been an article had been written up on him on Time magazine. He had a documentary who was traveling around him. The camera, the network was giving him like $15, a night to stay, to make sure he had somewhere to stay, just so they can film him. You know what I'm saying? So he was getting traction in the country, yet they still allowed him to move about and affect people across the country. And he was laughing when they said you can't sleep with people. He was like, that let you know, for one, a couple of things screamed out at me. First of all, you got mental illness. There's some type of mental illness going on with you. Two, there's also some type of cynical deep spirit up on you that's operating. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. It was sadistic. I'm looking at this dude like, dude, you are sadistic. Sadistic. And I always heard of a story of a man going, y'all, they always say, y'all remember that man who was sleeping with everybody, giving them AIDS, but I never knew, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really get the specifics of the story. And I took my time and watched the whole documentary, and I was flabbergasted. Blown back. I really was. It's a crime to do that today. But he was able to walk around the country and do that for a while. He should have been locked up. Locked up. There was one instance where this gay community activist found out about him, and so he started calling all the bathhouse and the clubs and stuff, and letting them know that he had that he was going in there soliciting sex and stuff. And he told me, he said, well, he didn't tell me, but he told the cameraman, he was like, if they would have found him in there, he probably would have made it out. Because even the gay community was fearful. They were running scared, because all you knew was that they were dropping dead. They were just dying. They were just dying left and right. They were just dying. That time was a scary time. You didn't know, you didn't want to touch nothing that if somebody had AIDS, you didn't want to touch it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't want to drink no cups out of them. You was throwing away dishes, clothes. You know what I'm saying? They were saying you can get it from toilet seats, all type of stuff. And so yeah, it was something. It really was something. It really was something. I thought that this was a good story, and that's why I brought it to you guys. It was intriguing to see how we were back then as a society, and how we thought of things, and how ignorant we was. And I'm not saying ignorant in a bad way, but just didn't have the knowledge. And that's how we were treating it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to see if I can, what I'll do is I'll just post it on my community. I think I've already done it, but I'll go and do it if I haven't. It was something to see that, and that he was documented. It's on film, and nobody tried to stop him. Like, forget the fact that you documenting, forget the show, lock him up. I feel like they let him go on and on because he was part of a documentary and they were videotaping him. It just baffled me how they did that. That's just weird. That's just weird. It was just weird. So, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed the story. Thank you, Score, for rocking with me. I know you're here. Thank you for moderating. I don't know where the rest of my moderators are. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I know Scorp is here holding it down as usual. So thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, I am going to enjoy the rest of my evening. I hope that you do the same. If you're coming in here on a replay, thank you, because you don't have to. You don't have to support, and I tell you, thank you so much. Continue to remember my husband, my father-in-law. My husband was able to speak to him today. He's still in the hospital recovering from the surgery. So just thank God. We can feel your prayers. So we're saying thank you for that. Listen, do something nice for somebody. If it's nothing but say a silent prayer for them, give them a great big smile, give them a hug, slide a note underneath their door and say, hey, I was thinking about you. Anything. Do something nice for them, because guess what? You reap what you sow, and it's going to come back to you tenfold. This is your Queen Clayleen saying, be great. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.